As Nigeria moves deeper into its democratic journey, the one constant in our political landscape remains turmoil within the very institution tasked with shaping our future, and that's the political parties. From the largest national forces to the emerging regional movements, every party is grappling with a series of internal crises, factionalism, and leadership struggle. Well, the APGA party, a party once known for its steady leadership, now finds itself embroiled in internal battles. Just today, Edozie Njoku, the national chairman, reacted to the Court of Appeal's ruling that affirmed his position as the legitimate leader of the party. Njoku is calling for unity, urging Governor Soludo and all party faithful to put aside their differences and work together to move the party forward. He warned against the destabilizing forces threatening to fracture the party at a time when unity is crucial. Well, I'm joined by Edozie Njoku, the national chairman of APGA, for more on this. Great to have you on the show tonight.
It's all my pleasure. Good evening.
I guess congratulations may be in order. Another court ruling today in your favor. What's your reaction to that?
My reactions are not so much. I know that we've been recognized by INEC for a while now. A lot of stories that came up to say that there were new facts, they knew this. These are all lies. You know, APGA is, I like the word you use, a stable political party. Yeah, we've had some crises. And the crises we have in APGA are not much more, are not more than any other party's crisis. Because there are crises everywhere. But it's always made out to be as this APGA crisis is the biggest. APGA is one of the parties that has been resolved in the Supreme Court. INEC have finally taken cue to that and said, this is the national chairman of APGA. The governor, Charles Soludo, and people who, for one reason or another, I don't know why, he doesn't want to recognize me. I don't know, maybe it's personal. But they went hell over to say, no, that INEC must withdraw that recognition, went to the Court of Appeal, brought up a lot of lies and things like that. And the Court of Appeal just told them, no, you can't do that today, that he is the national chairman of APGA. And if you want to be joined in to go to the Supreme Court and challenge the judgment that was done in the lower court and the one that was done in this Court of Appeal, which is an enforcement of the Supreme Court judgment, then you could go and join. They were very clear with them. So we've been asking that APGA should calm down a bit. Let us resolve, let us come together and build the party. But I think after today, the governor will realize that the lawyers are the ones who are benefiting from all this.
Oh, we are yet to hear from the governor's camp. But despite this numerous court rulings, it's almost impossible to keep count of the court's judgments on both sides. Despite all of these rulings.
No.
What is no exactly?
The no is you're counting. No, the facts. Let's go by facts, not by when someone comes in and he said the fact is that the Supreme Court came out to say Edozie Njoku's removal, my name there, is not justiciable.
Man, before you got to the Supreme Court, you went through
and all of them. It goes through
and that's why I'm saying that despite these several court rulings, this problem has persisted. Why? Why is it that the resolutions from these courts have not been able to end or bring an end to the conflict? That's my question.
In Nigeria.
But you have been to several courts.
In Nigeria, how many other courts, even if you will go to 1,000 courts, once the Supreme Court has spoken, it's final.
As the apex court? As
the apex court. We now went, they refused to obey it because they have a governor who is with them. And you could, if they frustrate me enough, I could run away or they could pay me off, but that didn't work. We now went to the lower court to enforce the judgment. The judgment was enforced by a lower court by law. They said, no, they took it themselves to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal, 3-0, said, this is the national chairman of the party. At that point, INEC now realized the facts. You know, before they were looking at it from maybe a different perspective, but suddenly INEC saw from the judgment of the Court of Appeal and said, no, this is the national chairman. They went out, did an affidavit in court to say, yes, from the Owerri Convention, which is the only thing sitting in the Supreme Court, this is the national chairman. But they are living in denial because Anambra has always felt that this is a party that belongs to Anambra State. So for them, in that denial, they can't see someone else from another state taking over the leadership of the party, and that's a problem.
You did say moments ago you were not sure why they have refused to recognize you. It could be personnel.
I didn't say they. I said why the governor has not come out to recognize
that
it could be personal. Yeah.
Why do you think he will be holding personal
grudges? Because I don't. Well, because if he was able to now go when there was an injunction stopping a convention, he came onto channel, sat down there, and conducted a convention, and that convention has now been cancelled. A court has said is neither here or there. That is rubbish. And and that person he brought out to become the national chairman of the party is his PA. How could you go to your state and bring out your PA?
Who exactly are you referring to?
Sly, okay, so it was his personal assistant or special, I don't know, one of the two, special assistant or personal, but it was his staff. And he just brings him up, picks him up, and brings to APGA. It wouldn't work.
Now, how do you respond to those who say that this constant court interventions are indicative of a failure of the internal party mechanisms to resolve crisis, and that perhaps it's even one of the issues?
The Supreme Court were clear. They said Edozie Njoku's removal is not justiciable. It should go back to become an internal party affair. My removal, clearly on page 13 of their old judgment, is not justiciable. And all these things are things they've cooked up to come. And they go to court and they make up so much stories. And you see, the judgment always comes out in my favor. Always. For a particular reason. Because we're on the side of the law.
Yes, so I get that point. But my question really is, why is it that both parties are quick to run to the courts? I mean, this is a political party that has internal mechanisms that is supposed to resolve crisis. But we haven't seen much of that. Instead, we see all of these court judgments.
I was removed. Some people ran off. Purportedly, my deputy ran off to Jigawa State to remove me in Jigawa. That's the beginning of the story. When they removed me, we had to rush to court. Them rushed to court to say they were the ones. I rushed to court, and it went up to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court told them that they cannot remove me because it's an internal affair. That's what the whole thing is all about. The Supreme Court said you cannot remove Chief. And my name clearly, Chief Edozie, cannot be removed because it's an internal affairs of the party. But because they are living in denial, they don't want anyone who's not from Anambra to take over the chairmanship of the party. They now force, because they have a lot of money. Governors have so much money. They keep forcing it. But as long as you are consistent with what you're doing, the truth will always be out. And the truth keeps coming out.
You see, when you listen to the other party, they also say the same things.
Other party?
Yes, the other party, talking about the Sylvester group and Governor Charles Soludo's group. They do say that the interpretation of these court judgments, you interpret them in your favor, and that the courts really don't say that. So it's back and forth, it's neither here nor there. No, but let me ask you, because they are saying that, and I'm glad you went back to the basics, to the beginning of all of this crisis. Yeah. They say your tenure, or the tenure you're claiming to hold on to, was between 2019 to 2023, which a court of appeal judgment they got said has elapsed. No, so how do you respond to that?
Let me respond to that. And there was no court that said anything in that nature. In 2019, there were two conventions. That's the basis of the whole
parallel thing. Conventions.
Yes, one was done in Oka and one was done in Owerri. The one that was done in Oka did a review of the Constitution, which INEC had been using up till today. And the one in Owerri also did a constitutional amendment, which we're using up to today. The constitutional amendment, our constitution has taken very clear of that in a position where people have come in to try to thwart, there are ways in which the tenures can be extended. They need to go and read our constitution. It's within INEC.
So when did this tenure start and when did it elapse?
The tenure was meant to have elapsed in May 2023, and an amendment, an extension of a year, and we have an option to renew twice in the constitution. So they need to look at our constitution of the party and know what is the constitution of the party. Are
you aware of the 2021 Oka Convention that brought in the new officials?
Supreme Court is not aware of it. No court is aware of it. Supreme Court tells
you that.
That's
according to you. According to them, they also have judgments.
No, they don't. Let us go and read the judgment.
But they parade judgment. I'm just telling you, they parade judgment.
Forget what they are telling you. Go and yourself, go and read and call me back tomorrow. Read the Supreme Court judgment that said, even the CJN today was the head of the panel who said nothing. Oye was not part of it. His name should be deleted. He's never, everything happened in a way. Don't listen to what they are saying. Read it yourself, and then you will be able to understand it.
Well, we do know that all of these court judgments involve complex interpretations for the parties. Let me ask you, because this crisis has been on since 2019 up until now. What is at the crux of this? Some will ask, is it for personal recognition, or really the soul of the party, or governance, or what APGA can deliver to the people? The
soul of the party. You understand? The soul of the party. APGA should be a party that involves the whole of Nigeria. The most importantly, the southeast of Nigeria have a special love to APGA. And all this while, if you notice in the elections of Imo State, we didn't poll up to 600 and something, 100,000 votes. It's not real. The party has been muffled and held down because of personal interest. The party owners, we are the members of the party, said, no, it's not going to happen. And luckily for them, I'm someone who is very resistant, and I said, no, it's not going to happen. I was the first vice national chairman of the party. When the party was formed, we had a vision, and we now want that vision to multiply and become bigger. And they want it to just be Anambra now. It can't be that. And luckily, thank God, the Supreme Court has ruled that Oye had nothing to do with it, and that everything happened in the convention in which I emerged from. I call on anyone, read that thing, go take that thing yourself and read it. The Supreme Court, the one that's been gazetted, that is now gazetted, read it. Just take about an hour or 30 minutes, read it, and you will see that they have nothing to do with, nothing was. And that is what every judge in the Court of Appeal, they've been to the Court of Appeal twice, and they've lost on it. Because when they read it, they tell you have no grounds.
I'm glad you mentioned personal interests, and I wonder if that excludes yours in finding a solution to this crisis within your party. You have today again extended the olive branch to the governor and asking him to come on the table, and unity should be the way forward. We've not heard his response, but should he also offer an olive branch to you? Are we likely to see the end of this crisis?
If you remember, I think it was in 2021 when there was a ruling or judgment that came out in my favor in the Federal High Court. I came here and said, what we should do is let me step aside and Oye step aside, let the party move forward. And they refused to do that. Today, the Supreme Court has come out and are now the national chairman. We've gone beyond that. And I said today on the press conference I did that there's an Igbo proverb that says that you need to be chasing a black goat in daylight. It's getting dim and dim and dim. I'm handing out the olive branch to Soludo, or to Charles, to him. There's a time that will come and I'll say no. And then that time, questions will ask, why are you being dogmatic? No, that olive branch is going, let us sit down and sort this thing out. And he keeps saying, no, he's going to another court, he's going to another. He's preparing to go to the Supreme Court, to challenge the Supreme Court. And what he's challenging is an enforcement, because the lower court has enforced it, the Court of Appeal has enforced it, they're now going back to the Supreme Court to enforce it. I would like to see how that turns out.
Where does this leave APGA as an emerging political party with upcoming elections? For instance, in Edo and Ondo?
It leaves APGA that everyone in all the states, particularly in the Southeast, are rejoicing that we're even seeing some light that these guys are going to be put aside so we can build our party. The party needs to be built. APGA needs to move forward. It can't stay that way it has been for the past 12, 15, 16 years.
Edozie Njoku, National Chairman of APGA, thank you so much for being on Prime Time.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.